All right, so welcome in. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm so happy you guys are all here. So far, a good turnout. If you have dogs or background noises, you might want to mute, but by all means, please unmute and ask questions as we go. I love questions, as you guys know. So, go ahead.
Losing everything.
Right.
Yeah, my finger.
Okay, so welcome in. This week we are talking about the top 7 mistakes people make when trying to lose weight. So that will be our topic for the day. People still joining here. All right, so today our agenda, we've got shout outs and welcomes. We'll do a little true and false. Oh, good. We got a lot of people joining, so thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate that. True and false, I'll go over the 7 mistakes, and then I have a little bonus round for you. And then, of course, Q&A, but like I said, if you want to unmute, just ask me a question in the middle, because if I'm not explaining something right, hopefully I can explain it right. All right. So starting with our funnies, I usually like to start with funnies. Obviously, this week we're talking about mistakes, so I thought these 2 were cute. But some of my shout outs today, I've got Rebecca. She said she's loving this program. She feels great. Her joint pain is completely gone. She wakes up feeling energized. And she said she's just finding it easy to stay on. So congratulations, Rebecca, and keep on going. And I appreciate you letting me know that. Jennifer is down 20 pounds in just 6 weeks, which is remarkable, but I just want to give her the extra kudos. This stuff doesn't happen by accident. She's doing the stuff. Also, Bobby, also down 20 pounds in about a 6-week period. So congratulations to you, Bobby. Anita, she's down 9 pounds in just over a week. So good on you. We've got Carol. She basically hit her weight loss goal. She did some blood work, which man, if I can get everybody to do blood work before and after just to see blood sugars and the triglycerides and cholesterols, I mean, I would love for you guys to all have that information. But her cholesterol went from 224 to 191. Some other numbers have gone down or gotten improved. And also her inflammation is down and her A1C is now 4.6, which is a really good number. So congratulations to you, Carol. Amy is down 8.25 inches. I don't usually get inches a lot, so I thought I really wanted to share that. A lot of times you guys, if you are in plateau or you think you're in plateau, go back and remeasure. And if you're brand new and haven't measured yourself, let's get those starting measurements so that when you feel like, oh my gosh, the scale isn't moving, guess what? You probably are losing inches because they don't happen at the same time. It's not a simultaneous thing. You're either losing weight or you're losing inches or you're losing body fat. So check your inches if you feel like the scale is getting stuck. And then the last one, Beth, I just spoke to Beth this morning. She said she feels better than she has felt in years. And she's fairly new. And she said she can already see a difference in her nails and her hair. And she said her eye bags are gone. So those are some pretty cool things. So congratulations to all of you. I just love all these positive feedbacks. Want to shout out welcome to Shannon, John, Keisha, Melissa, Nicole, Stacy, Jody, Terrell, Wendy, Lydia, and Patrice. So welcome to all my new people. Let the games begin, as they say. All right, so if you want to unmute, excuse me. Please feel free to participate in the game. We're playing games today. Sorry, there's no prizes except bragging rights. All right, so first one, skipping breakfast is the worst thing you can do for weight loss. Anybody have a guess?
True.
Anybody else? Before I reveal. Okay, so thank you for at least participating, Kathleen. And you're not wrong. And you're not, well, let me just go back. So skipping breakfast isn't the worst thing you can do when you're trying to lose weight, if it's something you do on an occasion. But if you're the kind of person who doesn't have any appetite in the morning and doesn't put any calories in till noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, what happens is the body adapts and it stops spending the calories. So it's basically, if it knows you're not going to feed it, it won't spend any calories. So you're actually right, Kathleen. However, an occasional intermittent fasting is actually good for you. So if you normally eat breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, whatever, but on occasion you skip the breakfast, or you have a bigger window of not eating, it's called intermittent fastings, and it can actually be good for you, but not on a regular basis, because you guys have heard me say this a million times. The body adapts and it'll stop changing once you stop feeding it too much. So thank you for your participation on that. Number 2, calories are calories. You guys probably know the answer to this one.
Yeah, no.
Thank you, Dawn. And that's right. So, because if I had 1,500 calories of Snickers bars or 1,500 calories of healthy, lean proteins and good vegetables and good healthy fats, my body is going to respond a whole lot different. I will go into that a little bit today. One of the mistakes that people make, that'll be one of my slides for today. But you want your calories to be nutrient dense. We want them to be low in sugar. We want them to be high in fiber, and full of vitamins and nutrients. So we want to make sure we're getting all of those things. So if we're eating 1,500 calories of pasta versus 1,500 calories of chicken and vegetables and maybe some brown rice, you're going to be better off with the chicken and rice and vegetables. Weight loss is linear, true or false? And what I mean by that is, okay, you're here, you start the program and everything goes down in a nice straight line.
Definitely false.
Those of you who have been in the program, for more than several weeks, I have some graduates here on the call. So thank you to you guys for showing up and for yourselves, in addition to just coming and getting the information. But you guys know this. You lose a little bit of weight and then you weigh yourself and it goes up a little bit, and then you lose a little bit of weight and it goes up a little bit and it goes down and up and it goes up and then it goes down and then it goes up. So it is definitely not linear. And I really wanted to put this in on the list because people just lose their mind and they get so discouraged. They're losing weight, and then all of a sudden they gain a pound or 2 pounds. And they're like, oh my God, it's broken. My body stopped working. No, guys, there's so many different variables. If you had too much salt, you're going to retain extra water. If you did not have a good productive bowel movement, you're going to have that extra weight. Or vice versa, if you ate natural diuretic types of foods like asparagus or cucumbers, you're going to pee out all that excess water weight. Or you dropped your carbs, you're going to pee all that excess water weight. So, just track your average from this week and only compare it to last week. Don't compare your weight today from yesterday's weight, because it is definitely not linear. Here's one. Fast food is unhealthy. True or false?
True.
That's a good guess. It's a very good guess. And
I agree.
And it's primarily right. That said, we we have to eat something sometimes, and there are times when we're kind of in a pinch. So there are ways to make a healthiest choice. Like if you go to Chipotle, you just get the bed of lettuce with the guacamole and the fajita vegetables and the grilled chicken and maybe the salsa, all of that sort of stuff. And you can do pretty good with that versus getting the wrap or a burger with the bun and all of those things. That being said, a lot of these fast food joints do use seed oils and other unhealthy ingredients. So we just got to be mindful. But in a pinch, if you can figure out how to get the chicken or whatever, the fish, or it's usually chicken in fast food. If you can get it in a way that it's still in its original form, like El Pollo Loco, the chicken it's grilled and it's still on the bone. So it's not all kinds of taken apart, processed, and a bunch of other ingredients added to it. So good guess. Thanks for playing. Eating just before bed causes weight gain.
True.
Anybody else? Okay. Nobody? Okay. I was going to say I would go with that's not true. But let me just put a little caveat to that. If you've got through your day and you've had just a crazy busy day and you go to track all your calories and here it is, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and you realize you're only at 600 calories. And if, it's getting ready for time for bed. I would say, yeah, take a protein shake. Take something kind of light. The protein shake is almost digested on some level for you, so your body doesn't have to work too hard. And that way, at least you bump your calories up and you get enough protein for that day.
Yeah.
The real problem that arises from eating before bed is the fact that when we go to bed, and it's recommended that you don't eat 3 hours prior to laying yourself down and going to sleep. It's recommended that for the reason is rest is for rest. Body needs to rest. The inside, the brain needs to rest, your eyes need to rest, but so does the rest of your body. Your heart needs to rest and your digestive system needs to rest. If we put a big meal, and I'm going back to, maybe my early 20s when we'd go out to a party or dancing or clubbing or something, and then we'd all go to breakfast at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then go to bed after that. What a horrible thing to do. The problem with that is instead of my body getting rest, I basically have clocked my body back into its job. And now the heart doesn't get to slow down and rest because it has to pump enough blood to the digestive system so it can digest the food I just ate at 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's not a healthy habit at all. It's a terribly unhealthy habit. So going to bed early is
Never
good.
thought of that. Did you hear what she said?
We got some feedback. Anyway, so eating right before bed is unhealthy for your body in general. They say people who have a habit of eating right before bed are more higher risk for heart attack because again, their heart doesn't get to rest because it has to work harder while it's supposed to be sleeping to digest the food. Okay, so let's dig right in. Mistake number one is cardio or too much exercise. Now, a lot of people, when I get your check-in sheets, and by the way, thank you all for sending me 7 days worth of your journal pages and your check-in sheet every week, once a week. So thank you guys for doing that. The check-in sheet tells me how you're doing, and the journal pages tell me what you're doing. So that's the best way for me to give you the best feedback. So I do need both pieces of that. The check-in sheet is in the scheduling link if you're new and you forgot. So there is that. But a lot of times on the check-in sheet, I ask you about your activity, and a lot of times I see walking. There is nothing wrong with walking, especially if you're walking outside, you're getting vitamin D, you're getting fresh air. Maybe you're walking with a partner or a friend or a family member. And so you're bonding with that person. So that's all wonderful. Or you're walking with your dog, you're bonding with your dog. So these are all wonderful things. But number one, if that's all you're doing, you're not increasing your metabolism. If you want to boost your metabolism, if weight loss is one of the reasons why you're here, you want to do some strength training. And you want to make sure that you're building lean body mass. The more lean mass we have, the faster the metabolism goes. So if all I see on your check-in sheet is walking, it's a good start. It's a great, great start. But I think what I would encourage you guys to do, in addition to, of course, the strength training, which is in module 5, and it's very beginner friendly, so it's for a beginner, is when you're doing your cardio or you're walking, track your heart rate. See if you can't get it up to 180 minus your age, which is the fat burning zone. So at least you're doing something to improve your cardiovascular health and burn a few extra calories. Because if you're walking a dog that's stopping at every bush to smell it or pee on it or whatever, you're likely your heart rate is not getting up. So it's not, I wouldn't consider that exercise. You're getting out fresh sunshine, that's great, but I wouldn't consider it exercise. So get your strength training in, or when you are doing your cardio, track your heart rate, aim for something like 180 minus your age. All right, number 2, calorie restriction. I see this a lot. That's why it's here on this list. I see people coming in with their calories really low, and I understand, eating really healthy, it's filling. And so sometimes people have trouble. They can't get more than 600 or 700 or 800 calories in. But consistent calorie restriction will slow your metabolism down. Like I said, the body adapts. It's just like that intermittent fasting. If you always don't eat until noon, or you always come in at 600, 700, 800 calories, your body is very smart. It's trying to survive. So it turns the dial down on spending any calories. So we want to be in a calorie deficit, but we have to be in that sweet spot. So, get with me on your one-on-one. I'll need to know how tall you are. We'll figure out a number that's better for you. If you're feeling too hungry, or you're feeling too full, or you're not losing weight, or something's going on, book your one-on-ones with me if you are coaching. All right. All right, so here is my list. All right, so top mistakes people make. One of them is not addressing your mindset. Your mindset is the best piece of fitness equipment you can have. The absolute number one best. It will be your best friend. It will get in your way, and it will hinder you. Your mindset can self-sabotage. So it's really important that we get that straight. So the first suggestion is go into module 2 and learn about the success formula. And that's one of the first things I want you to do. And I just love this saying by Jim Rohn: don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. So we start to build a mindset and asking the right questions. How can I make this easier? What can I do today to step towards my goals and becoming the better version of yourself? That's basically all this is. Never compare yourself to anybody else. I did all these wonderful shout outs, people losing 20 pounds or 9 pounds or 5 pounds in a week or whatever. Don't compare yourself to them. Compare yourself to who you were last week. And that's who you want to be, is the version of yourself that you were last week. If we're not growing, we're dying. We're either in growth or decay, right? We talked about that a few weeks ago. So it's just getting that mindset straight. So your success formula, the first piece is decide what it is you want to do or create for yourself. Where do you want to level up? So create it. What is it? So you guys are here for health and wellness, or weight loss, or gut health, whatever that sentence is, but figure that out. So if you're here for health and wellness, great, boom, that's what I want. Now you see it in your mind's eye, you visualize it. Number 2, you see it. Number 3, you feel it. What does it feel like to have achieved it? What does it feel like to have that energy back? What does it feel like to get in those clothes, or your favorite jeans, or your favorite business suit? Or what does it feel like to feel confident wearing a bathing suit at the pool party? Adding those feelings is what's going to convince the subconscious mind that this is happening. The next step is believe it. But if you practice your see it and feel it, consistent repetition is the mother of mastery. So the more I see it and feel it, see it, feel it, feel it, feel it, the subconscious mind does not know the difference between real and imagined. So now the subconscious mind will believe it. We just got to practice the see it, feel it part. And then the last part is taking action to do the things that we need to do. So what's my next action? Well, I just had lunch. So my next action would be either a healthy snack or a healthy dinner. Or maybe plan my meals for the next day. Or maybe I'm going to the gym after work. What's my next right thing to do? Number 2, visualize it. Visualize it. You want to make sure you practice your visualizations. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible. So I thought that was pretty cute, and I wanted to add that in there. Number 3, writing out your vision. That's the module 2, training number 1. Write out your vision as if it's already happened. And this is where you practice the see and feel it. You can read it. You can keep that written vision near you by your bedside. Read it before bed. Read it when you first wake up. Feel what it feels like to have achieved all those things. And this is it. I love this. Life is not about finding yourself. It's about creating yourself. So if you've written it down and you see and feel it as if it's already done, it creates that belief, as I mentioned, and you are creating the life that you want to create. Your subconscious mind will go out and find more ways to make that life that it believes that it has to be more true and more true. This is number 4. Create a plan. What are you going to do daily? What are you going to do weekly? What are you going to do monthly? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that's the truth. So you set your intentions. And so put, as they say, the big rocks in first. So what are the big rocks? What is the most important thing to you? Is it, it could be building your relationship with your spouse or your partner. It could be, and so make sure, put that in your planner to have a date night, those kinds of things. In this case of health and wellness, what are you going to do daily? Okay, so daily I will have my meals already set up. That might be something I do on Sundays, making sure I have all those foods either in the house or prepared or partially prepared or pre-chopped. By the way, next week I'm talking about kitchen hacks and meal planning and how to make it easy and fast, save time and money, and make it easy. I'm going to go over all of that. That's next week, so don't miss next week. That's probably one of the most popular topics. But that's a way to plan, and it's a way to set yourself up for that win. So something daily might be meals, might be your workouts, might be your food tracking. These are important things. The more we track, the more awareness that we have, the more we're training ourselves that we are doing the deal. I'm doing the deal. Weekly might be meal prepping or meal planning, things of that nature. Monthly might be something maybe you measure, maybe you try a new recipe. I would like to see you do that weekly, actually. Maybe every month you kind of switch up your activities. So if you're doing something with 5 pounds weights, at least every month you better bump that up or do higher reps or do more sets or do biceps in a different way or whatever the case may be. You're going to change up your exercise or grow it or increase the intensity or the duration of that exercise on a monthly basis. And then the last one is making your decision. Decide what you want. Making that decision. If you don't change it, you're choosing it. So it says when you have a choice to make and you don't make it, that in and of itself is a choice. So there are those. We really got to practice that success formula. I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but the more we can create it and practice it in our head. And another tip for that too is, you know, that on some level you're going to have to move your body, even if you're seated, you know, just raising your hands up or little basic things. or you know you're going to have some food ready or some foods prepared. So if you know that, just having that stuff ready, it'll make that easier. If you see that in your vision, you see yourself practicing making the foods. You see yourself enjoying it because you're listening to your favorite music, or you're doing it with your loved one, or you see yourself pulling the stuff out of the freezer. All you got to do is defrost it because you did your homework on Sunday. So if you're practicing those things in your mind, it becomes more and more part of your reality, and it becomes more and more of who you are becoming. Who you are becoming. Your identity is the strongest force in the human personality is the need to be consistent with who you think you are. And that was a famous quote by Tony Robbins, and he's right. So the more we practice that success formula, the more it becomes who we are. Okay, so next mistake, not addressing gut and liver health. And you guys are here, so you guys really already know this one. Excuse me. So basically how the digestive system works, we see the food, we smell the food, we might even hear the sizzle of it cooking. We're using our other senses, and it starts the digestive juices flowing. Sometimes any of those things can make your mouth water. And in that mouth watering are some of the digestive enzymes, primarily the ones for carbohydrates. We chew, we swallow. It goes into the stomach. The stomach has some enzymes and it has hydrochloric acid. And the stomach kind of grinds it up and it turns it in the food into a liquid foam, basically. And then it exits the stomach into the the large intestine. I'm sorry, the small intestine first. And that's where the body starts to absorb some of the vitamins and the nutrients. And it goes through, it goes into the colon, and it triggers some nerves into the colon that says, hey, it's time to go to the bathroom. You feel that urge to go, and then off you go. Some of the absorption takes place in the large colon, mostly in the small intestines, but that's a normal way for it to go. But however, if we have had antibiotics, the gut biome is kind of messed up. If just through aging and other medications, we don't have enough hydrochloric acid in the stomach, or we don't make enzymes in the belly, the food does not get digested down to that foam like I just mentioned. And when that happens, it's pieces or chunks. Now it knows it has to leave the stomach. So it's trying to leave and it tries to go back up. It just knows it has to go. It tries to go back up. That's what we call acid reflux or heartburn. There's a block, so it won't let it go usually. Sometimes it lets it in, so that's why it hurts. But then it will eventually go into the small intestines in bigger chunks. So it's not as digested as it should be. So now the pancreas thinks that more food, because it's not digested how it should be. So the pancreas thinks there's more food in the system. So it's pumping out insulin, more insulin, more insulin, more insulin. And here we are trying to do our best to eat right. We're eating right, busting our chops in the gym for an hour, 2 hours, whatever. And yet all that insulin, every time the pancreas pumps more insulin, that's your fat storage hormone. So if we don't address some of these digestive issues, it's a losing battle. It's, we're eating right and we're exercising, but the body's saying store fat, store fat, store fat. And it's really, really difficult to get ahead of that unless we correct the digestive system. So you guys are in the right place if any of those things sound familiar to you. All right. Oh, next one up. I got some notes for this one. So I just love I'm a cat person. I love my cats, but this lion in particular, he looked good. So he's on my slide for today. And number 5 is not getting enough sleep, not getting the right sleep, not going to bed on time. Studies show that people that have more consistent bedtime have better overall health. So I got 10 reasons here on my list why lack of sleep increases your weight or makes it more difficult to lose weight. Number one, if you're really tired, the body reacts differently to insulin. As I just mentioned, insulin is your fat storage hormone. So if it's pumping off, or if you're really, really tired, your body's not going to respond well. So you might have more of that insulin, which keeps you in a fat storage zone. There's another hormone called leptin, and only one bad night's sleep can affect it. Leptin is your satisfaction hormone. It tells you when you're full. So when we eat, the leptin says, hey, you stop eating, you're full. But when we lose sleep, that hormone is off. And so we have a bigger appetite. And number three, same thing, only the opposite hormone called ghrelin, which triggers your hunger, it's also off. And I was reading a study. It was college students. I think it was all women, younger women, college age, and they put them on a 5-hour sleep night. And even just after one day, made them wake up after 5 hours, they all reported back they were hungry and they were craving things like bread and toast, like comfort foods. And I know for me, if I don't sleep well, I want junk food. I crave something to make me feel better, because when we don't sleep, we don't feel good. Number 4, it says craving junk food like pizza and donuts. Well, yeah, because carbs are energy. So it's going to give us the illusion of having energy. Donuts, it's full of sugar and carbs. It's going to increase our energy. And plus it's comfort food. We want to feel better. So be mindful of that piece. If we're going to bed really late and we had a dinner at 6 o'clock like we're supposed to, and we're still up at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, you might start to get a little hungry, and the chances of you eating something extra, your calorie count's going to go way up. So if you're too high in calories, you definitely want to go to bed earlier, because you're not going to be hungry while you're sleeping. Number 6, studies show people who don't get enough sleep tend to increase their calories by 549 calories. So that was just a study I picked up. Number 7, the metabolism actually slows down, which slows down your process of burning calories. So you're literally burning calories slower when you're really, really tired. Number 8, you're going to move less. If I haven't slept, I know I may not go to the gym. And if I get to the gym, I'm not going to bust my chops because I'm tired. I'm too tired. So my workout's going to be crap. It's not going to be a good workout, or I'm probably going to make an excuse not to go at all. I need a nap. So the chance of moving less and not working your body, becoming healthy, cardiovascular health, strengthening your muscles, building that bone density. You're not going to be doing all those things if you're constantly tired. So yeah, number 9 says it's difficult to exercise optimally. If I'm tired, I'm not going to do extra. I'm not going to do what I would normally call my best. And with 10, number 10, it says with that, your muscles will deteriorate again, slows down your metabolism. And number 11, I guess I had 10 reasons, but I threw a bonus one in here. You increase your risk for diabetes and obesity, depression, and anxiety if you're not sleeping right. So please try to get to bed. Dr. Infantino says 10 o'clock, 10:30. Try to eat 3 hours before bed, not closer to bedtime. 6 or 7 is fine, as long as you're going to bed by 10. But don't discard sleep. Sleep is really, really a big key factor. All right, next up we have some label reading mistakes. Plant-based. We did kind of go over this a couple weeks ago, but never hurts to hear it again. Some things are labeled plant-based, and let me just be crystal clear. I'm not mad at plant-based, plant foods. Your vegetables most of them are super, super nutrition. They're your antioxidants. They're your detoxifying foods. They're your fiber. They're your cleansing foods. They're all your vitamins A's, your antioxidants, your anti-aging. So plants in and of themselves are very, very healthy. But if it's a product like a salad dressing that says plant-based, which, okay, that's good. It's probably not going to have any dairy because dairy is not plant-based. But when I look at the ingredients on some of these, there's soybean oil, or there's high fructose corn syrup, or junk food types of ingredients. So just because something's stamped plant-based doesn't guarantee it is a good choice. You've got to do some more research. You've got to look at your ingredients list and look at your nutrition facts before you make that full determination. But your ingredients list is a great way to tell the story. You don't want that soybean oil in your food. The next one is all natural. Again, all natural isn't terrible. If I had an apple or a salad, it's all natural and it's clean eating. But something that's stamped with all natural, they don't have any regulations on that. It just has to have originally come from something natural. But I'll tell you what, when I see all natural, that almost sends up a red flag for me, saying it's probably got sugar in, because sugar is natural. Sugar is natural, but so is snake venom, just in case. This one, made with whatever. So it's a buzzword that we know and love. So my two examples, because I got taken by this mistake. Made with stevia. And I was looking at these yogurts at the time. I was looking at low-carb yogurts, and the low-carb yogurts all had that sucralose, their sweetness, which is it's horrible for the gut, And it's just a chemical that's not good for a lot of things. It's a man-made chemical. We want to eat as clean as possible. But I got this yogurt all the way home, and then I realized it had a little stevia in it, but it also had sucralose in it. And sucralose was higher on the list. So it had more of the chemical sweetener than it did the natural sweetener. And the same with the salad dressing I bought, made with olive oil. I bought it, I got it all the way home. It did have olive oil in it, last on the list, but one of the first ingredients was soybean oil. So you really, really got to look at your labels, ingredients. Your ingredients list tells a big, big story. Well, there it is, not looking at ingredients. That's the thing. I can look at the calories and the fats and the carbs all day long, but those are clues. They are not determining factors. Where those fats and where those carbs and where those calories are coming from, that's the determining factor. So you want to look at your ingredients list. And then lastly, not looking at your serving size on your labels. If you get like a muffin, I know we're not eating muffins now, but this is how I learned this mistake, is I got a muffin. It's one muffin, one of those, giant muffins, and it's packaged by itself, like one muffin. So I'm looking at the, calories, and it only had a couple hundred calories, and it wasn't that many carbs, and it wasn't that many fats, and it wasn't, it wasn't bad. And I thought, God, I thought these were just much worse. And, I'm looking at it, and all of a sudden I realized, oh, a serving size is half a muffin. Even though it's one whole muffin, you better cut it in half and give half of it to a friend to make sure that you're getting the calories that it says, and the carbs that it says, and the sugars that it says, and the fats that it says. So serving size is very, very important. And we sometimes forget to look at that. All right, so glycemic index. I am going to be going over this deeper dive in 2 weeks, but I do want to touch on it today because this is how I lost my weight. And carbs are not the enemy, guys. It's the higher glycemic carbs that are the enemy. Anything that sends your blood sugars up in a quick fashion, if it spikes your blood sugars, that's what's going to send that insulin out. And as I mentioned, insulin is your fat storage hormone. So we want to make sure that we're not having higher glycemic foods. But a more accurate formula, but it's a little bit more math and more challenging, is the glycemic load. So now for glycemic index, if I'm trying to decide if I want to eat a carbohydrate, I want to know the glycemic index. So the numbers you're looking for, if you want to write this down, a glycemic index of anything under 55 is considered low glycemic and a good choice. You still want to stay in your half cup serving, but it's a good choice. If it's 55 to 70, it's considered medium. And, that's on a sometimes occasion. If it's over 70, put it back on the shelf. Don't even buy it. Don't bring it in your house. Don't eat it. Don't touch it. Again, that'll tell you your body to be in fat storage. The glycemic load is a little bit more accurate because it also takes into consideration the carbohydrate content and the glycemic index. So you take carbohydrates times glycemic index, divide by 100, and that will equal your glycemic load. Your glycemic load, you want that number to be under 10. You want that number under 10. 10 to 20 is considered medium glycemic load. Anything over 20 is high. Do not touch it. You will be in fat storage. Put it back on the shelf. Don't buy it. So I have some examples for you, like white rice. As you know, we ask you not to eat white rice because it's got a glycemic index of 70. But is it really a bad choice? Well, if I check the glycemic load, yes, it is, because it comes in at a glycemic load of 56. 56 is way over 20, and anything over 20 is high. So if you go in at 56, you know your body's going to go straight into fat storage zone. So you definitely want to get rid of or don't avoid white rice. Watermelon, okay, it's a fruit, it's not processed, but guess what? It has a high glycemic number. It comes in, I've read 72, I've read 75, so I'll even say 72. But when you do the glycemic load, because it's considering the glycemic index also versus the carb content, the glycemic load is 5. So it turns out melon is not as bad. Not as bad based on the glycemic load. I never used to look at glycemic load because I had to do the math. Now with AI, Google can tell me the glycemic load of pretty much anything. It never used to be able to tell me that. And here's another example too, where the glycemic index is not the right indicator, and that would be spaghetti or pasta. It has a glycemic index of 50. Well, gee, that's great. That's under 55, like I mentioned. But guess what? When you do the glycemic note, because it's so high in carbs, pasta is so high in carbs, it has a glycemic load of 49. Remember, 10 is the highest number we want. 49 is off the charts. So pasta, unless you're having the It's Skinny or the Miracle Noodles or the Hearts of Palm noodles, those are different. They're made with different ingredients and they're wonderful. I'm all about those. But that's your example of, if you really want to know for sure, you got to find the glycemic load, and you want that glycemic load to be under 10. So not all calories are created equal. Definitely not, like I said. All right, so it's time for the bonus round. Being consistent with calorie consumption. This is, and I feel so terrible because you guys who are being so consistent with your calories, 1200, 1200, 1200, 1205, 1198, you're just so close and so good, and you're writing everything down and you're just so close. And then you're messaging me is like, I'm not losing any weight. I'm not losing any weight. What's going on? Well, unfortunately, and you guys have heard me say this a million times, your body gets very adapted. So if it knows you're going to give it 1200, 1200, 1200, it adapts to that and it stops spending the calories. So in the case of being consistent, I would say be inconsistent, stay within your range, but have an 1100 calorie day and then have a 1400 calorie day. This is some stuff you can talk to me one-on-one, because that'll depend on your height and your activity levels as well. And you and I can come up with a plan that's perfect for you and your body and your lifestyle. But, being consistent, that's great at first, because you'll drop, especially if it was too high. But being too consistent for too long, the body adapts. all or nothing. I was the queen of this one. So, we all start our diet on Monday, right? We're gung ho. So we go crazy on the Sunday. So it's my last hurrah. I'm going to eat everything inside. And then Monday's the day. I'm going to start my diet. I'm going to do the deal. And I'm going to eat super clean. And I'm just going to rock this thing. And that's great. And Monday happens and you did really good. And Tuesday, you're like, oh, this is great. And then you see something and you open your cabinet and you see that thing you're not supposed to eat. You're like, all right. By Wednesday, somehow it ends up in your mouth. And by Wednesday, you're going, oh, well, I screwed up. I ate the cookie. Forget it. I ruined it. I'll go ahead and finish this cookies now and I'll start again next Monday. But guess what? Monday is 5 days from now. So rather than going all or nothing, if we have a screw up, if we have an oopsie, just get right back on that horse. If you had one cookie, keep it at one cookie. Fill in the blank with a cookie, whatever your kryptonite is. Cookie is mine, which is why I use that example. But don't get off that horse. Don't stop. It's not all or nothing. If we're not, nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. So we're doing the best we can. We go to the party, we have the oopsie thing. We just get back on track. The next meal is on point. The next meal is on point. The next meal is on point. And then you start to build that momentum again. Never say never. This is what gets me through a lot, like, especially for the cleanse, for the cleanse. So like, I want to eat, my internal dialogue, I want to eat. Then I started telling myself, okay, I can eat, but let's wait an hour. Let's wait an hour. So I would wait an hour and then I'm like, okay, I can wait another hour and then another hour. Same thing with regular food days. And you're just having a craving for a slice of pizza or whatever the thing is. If I say I can never have a slice of pizza ever again, that's not going to go over very well. I'm a rebel. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it twice. I'm kind of kidding, but I'm kind of not. But never say never. I mean, during these first 12 weeks, we do want you to do your very best because we are trying to heal the gut. It's really about starving those bad bacteria and feeding the body what it needs to get back on balance. But in generally speaking, if I say I never can have a pizza or I can never have an ice cream cone as long as I live the rest of my life, that's pretty daunting and that's pretty sad. Just practicing a little bit of delayed gratification. Say, okay, I've done my first 12 weeks. I'm going to learn how to make a healthy pizza and then plan to make it on a Saturday and today's Monday or whatever the case is. But never say never because that's too hardcore harsh, at least the way my psyche works. Falling down and don't get back up. We've tried this diet. We've tried that diet. We've tried this diet. I don't care how many things you've tried. Don't give up. Just get back up and just keep going. Even if it was like a Thanksgiving, did everything wrong, gravy and mashed potatoes and pie and all the things and the breads, just get back on. You're guaranteed to not get success if you don't get back on. Consuming diet foods, anything that's labeled diet is probably going to have a lot of chemicals in it and it's probably going to be processed. Just eat clean foods. Just shop the perimeters of the grocery store, eat your lean meats, eat your healthy fats, eat your vegetables and your sometimes fruits, and just stay clean eating and avoid diet foods. The first 3 letters in diet is die. I don't want to be on a diet. Oh, and the last one, and I love this one, is not tracking exercise. And I was telling this earlier to somebody, so you might even be on this call, but tracking exercise makes it more fun. So if I'm just getting started and I'm, doing my push-ups and I can only do, 3 push-ups or 3 wall push-ups, that's all I can do. Write that down. Next week, when I come back to working my chest again, my goal is to try to beat my own record. So maybe next time I'll try to aim for 5. Or maybe I make it a little bit harder and go from the wall push-ups to the kitchen counter push-ups. Or I might add an extra set. So if you're tracking all that, now it's becoming exciting and you're going to want to do it again. Ooh, can I get to the next level? Can I get to the next level? Can I get to the next level? So tracking your exercise is a really important tip to promote progression. Because otherwise we get in the rut, we do the same thing over and over again. And I've had people tell me that I'm doing the same exercise routine I've been always doing. I follow the same DVR video, whatever. But if we track, it's a way to help us want to improve. Oh, alrighty. All right, so does anybody have any questions on that? Or thoughts or additions? Anybody can add? I muted some people because there was some back feedback, so you might be muted, but please unmute yourself if you have a question or a comment. Bobby,
Hey, so how would, if we're going for weight loss and then we're doing strength training, how will that counterbalance, I guess? Because muscle weighs more.
that's great. I love that question. So yeah, that's a good actual point. And years ago, I used to have a 5-pound thing of fat and a 5-pound thing of muscle, so you could really see how much bigger the fat really looks. So if you're doing some serious strength training where you're lifting is pretty much as heavy as you can, and by 8, 9, 10 reps, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can go to 11. That's probably a good number for you. You're pushing your own limits, and you will gain lean muscle. And so if you don't see the scale move, check your body fat and check your inches, because I can almost guarantee you're probably losing more fat, but because the muscle weighs more, because it's more dense, then that might be a disillusion that, oh my gosh, it's not working. I'm not losing weight. Who cares about what the scale says? My waist is getting smaller. I can see the lines in my arms. I can see my abs, or I can see my leg muscles. So we get a better definition. We get a better composition. So yeah, that might be a thing, but I mean, the scale it's a guide to see if we're kind of going in the right direction. But if you're doing a lot of heavier strength training where you are really building lean muscle, be prepared for that, because that's not the only determining factor if you're losing fat, or inches. Anybody else? You guys can also ask questions if you have an event coming up that you're not sure how to handle, or something coming up that you're concerned about. It doesn't have to be the topic of today.
I have a question, Tammy.
Yes.
Just for the benefit of the group, I graduated. I went through the program. So I'm asking this question because I recently, maybe for like over a week, I got into bodybuilding, weightlifting, not bodybuilding, but weightlifting. So when you talked about, like moderating or adjusting the calories, would you recommend, if you're going to up your calories a little bit, to do it on a day where you had a rigorous workout?
I would definitely up the protein on those days.
Okay.
Definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that would depend. So if I'm working with you, well, okay, we'll up the calories to this much, and now we'll track. Are we gaining weight? And then hopefully we'll have a scale that measures body fat as well. So we can say, okay, I've gained weight, but I lost fat. So then, those usually tell you your lean mass. So we know we're in the right place. If you're gaining weight and you're gaining fat, like, we put too many calories in, we have to come back. So we work on that together as a team as we work together. So we're kind of tracking those 3 things.
Yeah.
The body fat and the weight primarily. But if we're looking at that, and that's the way I've done that a lot of times, like I have a husband and wife, and the men, just so y'all know, heard me say this before too, the men lose weight faster and easier than the ladies. It just is. Get over that, because it's very disappointing for the husband and wife teams that come in, and it happens a lot. And the husband, he's lost all the weight he wanted, and now he's like, I don't want to lose anymore. I don't want to be skinny. So then I'm working with him to up his calories, and he's still losing weight. So I upped his calories some more, and he's still losing weight. Up his calories some more, and now he's right where he's supposed to be. So then that we
Oh,
come
wow.
to that place because we could sort of try this many calories and try that and try that. And then we're checking our stats, like our body fat and our weight. And if they're in the right direction, then that's where we're going to stay. If we're gaining where we don't want to gain, or we're losing where we don't want to lose, that's where we tweak it.
Okay. Measuring body fat isn't the same as the BMI, is it? Or
No, and thank you for bringing that up. I don't give BMI any credit. And the reason for that, BMI, it's just your body mass index, and it's just taking in consideration your height and your weight. Now, I have an ex-boyfriend who was a professional bodybuilder. The dude had more trophies, and he owned a gym, of course. Like, who else has time for that kind of work? He was huge, absolutely huge. But he had shelves all around his whole gym, and with all his trophies. But his BMI states he's obese, morbidly obese, because he was,
wow.
I forget, 6'2" or whatever, 6 or 6, I think he was 6 foot. But he
Kinda
was like
shit, yeah.
right before his competition when he would bulk. This is the dude with the 20-inch arms.
Mhm.
Crazy. Like a cartoon, really. But because he was 250 at 6 feet tall, that's considered morbidly obese. So now he's obese. It has no idea that you couldn't pinch an inch on his belly. He had no fat. You could see every little striation of his muscles. You could see all of his muscles, every definition of his muscles. So that I don't give it any credit. I don't give it any worth. Body fat, on the other hand, that's what we want to know. And that's the main thing we want to lose. Because body fat, especially if it's around the center of the body, that's where's all of your vital organs, the center of your body. So guess what? They're getting choked out, and it's aging them. So that's an important piece of the puzzle. So thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Hey,
Um,
Tammy, it's Diane. I'm jumping on. Hi.
Hi.
I just started today, so yay. I'm such a newbie. I had a question regarding like the water, drinking the lemon water. Do you have to use all that lemon? Because it's like so tart.
Great question. So you're gonna use the recipe right on the bottle. Now,
Okay,
you said it's tart. You're not drinking that now, are you?
I am. Why?
Not until day 9.
Okay, I'm so confused. All
Did
right,
you
so
do
then,
the onboarding with me?
you know, I was following the book like from
I don't think you did the onboarding with me now that I think about it.
probably didn't. So I'm so out of okay. So I
So
should have that now.
I don't think you've done the onboarding.
Okay. All right. So okay,
So
so
that's the first order of business. Did you take your supplements today?
I did.
Do you have time today? It's like 1 o'clock now. In 1 hour, I'm doing an onboarding. Would you have time in an hour?
No, I have an appointment at 5, so I'm in East Coast. So I can't do that today. Maybe I could jump on tomorrow. What time are you doing it tomorrow?
Tomorrow is at 1 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay,
No, maybe
tomorrow
you
I
can
could
do it. I don't have you in my.
yeah, that's fine. I'll jump on tomorrow. I apologize.
So just go to the scheduling link,
Yep.
which is let me share my screen. This one, coachtammy.drinfantino.com. And for tomorrow, look for tomorrow's schedule and book yourself for that one.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
And that way, because you got to follow what the book says. So day 1, you're not drinking the lemon juice. You don't drink that till day 9. I'm glad you said that it's tart, because if you're on day 1, you're not drinking that. I don't want you to drink the maple syrup on day 1.
Okay, so
That's
totally
only for when you're not eating any food.
okay, got it. That makes sense because I'm like, my God, can't eat anything. You don't want anything.
No, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Oh, well, I totally screwed that up. So
No, you know what? I give you guys a lot of information. Be prepared to stay on that call for about 45 minutes.
no problem. Okay.
Because there's a lot of info. So You're not going to remember everything. And if any of you guys want to take a second onboarding class or a third onboarding, by all means, join one. That's perfectly fine. I want you to feel confident, comfortable, and supported. And that's what those are for, as well as these, and as well as your one-on-ones. So,
Got it. Thanks.
oh, I'm so glad we talked. So glad we talked. Anybody else? Well, it's 1 o'clock straight up. If there's nothing else, I will say thank you guys for coming and joining and questions and participating in the true or false game. And everybody's a winner. No, wait, I don't like everybody gets a trophy idea. We have a lot of winners though. So anyway, I appreciate you guys coming. Thank you for being here, and I will see you guys all hopefully soon. Bye for now.